Kids, it's me, Mr. Dorfler, in case you forgot who I might be or you didn't know who I was to begin with. Welcome back into my classroom. It's been a little too long since I've seen you, but this video is designed to be kind of a welcome back, welcome to my classroom for those of you who are new to having me as a teacher. I'm also again, I keep reiterating a lot of the stuff in the emails I've sent, the postings I've made on Classroom, which if you haven't made it on Classroom, make sure you get there and get logged in. It's going to make your life a lot easier because that's where most of this stuff's going to be. Anyway, I've spent most of my morning today thinking about how I wanted to do this. I almost got to the point of writing a script out, and I just decided, you know what? I'm going to do this kind of like how I teach, and I'm just going to, discuss in the moment type situations. All right. So really what I want to do is just talk to you about expectations, what it is for you as a student and what you're going to be required to do, basically from what me as a teacher am required to do, and how we're going to try to make this unique and interesting start to a year the best it can be. Will there be some hiccups along the way? Most certainly. You got to plan for that, okay? If and when they come up, we're going to deal with them, okay? So just hang tight. If you have any questions while in class or when you're remote, please email me, message to Classroom, do whatever you feel you need to do in order to contact me, okay? So this video in particular is aimed at the students of physics and honors chemistry, okay? For my intro students, I will be making a separate video because that's kind of a unique class in itself. So I'll be making a second video, all right? All right, so what I really do have written down, though, because I need to have this so my brain doesn't go crazy jumping from one thing to the next, is I have a set of talking points that I need to address with each and every one of you, just so we can hopefully eliminate or minimize the number of questions or confusions that you might have, okay? So first thing is, you might notice that there's something a little different about me at this moment in the video. Well, that's because I am currently isolated in my classroom by myself, doors closed, nobody else present. That's why I don't get to wear the really fancy face masks. When you do come into my classroom, or when you are watching a video of me in my classroom from home, okay? That's you watching from home of me in my classroom. You get it. All right. I will be looking a little like this. Ta-da! So most of you know that I can speak rather loudly, so everybody can hear me, even Mr. Hampton or Mr. Surbeck, who aren't even in this classroom, okay? They can hear me. So hearing shouldn't be an issue during my discussions or online. However, again, we're dealing with technology that may kind of get mumbled here and there. If there happens to be a point in my recordings or in my lessons that you can't understand me, please let me know, okay? I've got all sorts of various masks that are going to really just show my true character, you know what I mean? Or I may end up having to wear some of my wife's floral prints ones. I really don't care what it does. As long as I have a face mask and follow the rules, that's be good. But most of the face masks also don't have nose clips. So most likely in each class period, you're going to see me going like this. And then I might ask for help trying to see. Not that my eyesight's real bad, but it can waver here and there. All right. So for now, for movie making purposes, no mask. All right. No mask. And what's also a good thing is by the time you get in my classroom, the air conditioning should work. It just got turned on yesterday, which is Wednesday the 19th. And the days prior to that, it was 86 degrees plus in my room by the end of the day. So it was a little warm. Anyway, back to the necessary information. Again, physics, honors chemistry. Here we go. All right. First thing you're going to see, I'm going to go ahead and lift this camera up. You're going to notice, for those of you who have been in here before, that my current seating arrangement looks a little weird. The rules. That's what we have to do. Got to follow the rules. These desks are at least 6 feet apart. I will have students sitting at the lab stations because those are far enough apart as well. And we're just going to have to make do with what we can. I mean, that is what it is. Speaking of seating, you will have assigned seating. Mr. Dorfler, we know you. You know us. Well, I know most of you. I don't know all of you. But that's not why. The reason why you're having assigned seating is because of what's called contact tracing. You may have heard of that throughout this whole discussion process. Well, anyway, if someone were to become infected, we want to know, who they sit next to specifically and in what classroom, okay, for the potential exposure that students may have. So that's why you're going to have assigned seats. It's not because I don't trust some of you. Well, there could be some. I don't know. Just kidding. But it just makes everyone's life easier. Know where they're going to sit. Know if something happens that it is taken care of. Okay? So that's one of the first things I want to talk to you about. Next thing is, I guess again, I have a list of stuff and I can't seem to keep it in order. Each class period was going to be 37 minutes. So in a normal school day in the years past, it felt like the typical 45 minutes wasn't quite enough time. So now we are down to 37 minutes. So it is imperative that you make it to class on time. If you are using a book bag to carry your stuff, which I think most of you probably are, once you get your materials for class out and on your desk, you're going to have your book bags brought up to the front or the side front of the classroom out of the way. And we're going to need to get going as soon as that bell rings. Okay. I want to take attendance as fast as possible, get started into our lesson. Okay. That means having all necessary materials out and ready to go when that bell rings. Okay. So please do your best to get here so we can get as much done in class as possible. Next. All right. Tests and quizzes. And for the most part, tests and quizzes are going to be done in class, in person. Okay. If you are a remote learner, I'll be talking with you at some point, but I prefer to have in-person tests and quizzes for pretty obvious reasons. So if you are a remote-only learner, again, I'll be talking to you, but my plan is to have remote-only learners come in on the Monday, which is remote-only, and take the test or the quiz. Okay. Now, the reason why I might have you do that is because only teachers are going to be in the building. Okay. There's not going to be any larger groups. Okay. You'll be by yourself and we'll go about that. If I change that up, again, there's always plans B, C, D, and F when it comes to a lot of this stuff. If it just either schedule wise or the idea of handing out a lot of hard copies and getting hard copies back, if that's just not going to be the best practice for this time period of school, then I will switch over to doing online versions. Now, a very important note about that. If I do have a test or a quiz online, so through Google Classroom, most likely Google Forms, I will make it so that the Chromebooks or whatever, they will be locked. And what that means is you cannot, while you are in the quiz or test, you cannot open up another tab. If you open up another tab, it immediately locks you out of your test, sends me the grade that you had of all the questions that you had completed up to then, and that's what you get. Okay? You are not to go out of the page for the test. If you do, it'll shut off your test and you can't go back into it. So, fair warning. So, if and when something like that comes up, okay? Other things that are expected of you is check your email and Google Classroom daily. I don't care if you are in class or a remote learner, check it every day. Okay? Because I schedule things sometimes in the morning to be posted. Other times I might wake up in the morning or be awake late at night. That I just had to get a message out to the students, and I need them to check it first thing in the morning. Okay, so be diligent about that. Get into good practice about it. Make it second nature. Okay. Next, calculators. Calculators. For you kids out there in physics and honors chemistry world, these are a daily necessity. Okay. In years past, some students didn't have one, and I allowed them to borrow one of mine. Not happening this year. Again, for obvious reasons. We don't want to have a lot of individual contact with multiple people on these devices. So if you can have your own calculator and bring it to class every day, please do so. Again, that's calculator is going to be part of your everyday stuff to have ready on your desk at the beginning of class period. For chemistry, really, for the first 5-6 chapters of what we cover in this year, it's very math heavy. So always have your calculators ready. Again, once we get into just outside of chapter 6 through 7, 8, and 9, we kind of back off of the math a little bit. Okay, I'll talk to you more about that. So again, calculators. And one of the last things, or last couple of things I should say, is homework. For physics students, I typically, for each section of notes, I typically give an at most 10 questions that pertain to what we have covered. Now, what I am probably going to do to start us off, because typically in years past, I'd give a hard copy out, have you do that for homework, and turn it in the next day. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to transition those questions to a Google form that's going to resemble a online quiz. Now, I'm not going to have you locked off of those, okay? That's just homework. And so I'm going to have you read the question, work it out, and then supply an answer to each question. And I'll go through manually, look at each question and grade whether or not it's correct or not. Homeworks are typically 10 points each. Okay. Again, most of you in physics I've had before, same grading scale as other classes that I've had. Okay. So, but also I'm going to have you show me your work for that particular homework assignment. Okay. So you have to do the work. You have to show me the work. And by showing me the work, I mean, write it on in a notebook, show me your work, label what homework it is and the date. And then the following day, after you've turned in your answers electronically, I will come around the class and make sure that you have done the work for that. Okay. Is that going to be the best method? We're going to try it. Okay. We're going to try it. Honors Chem kids, I have a list of questions that I give it's called a problem set. I'll probably be doing something very similar to that in terms of posting the questions online throughout the week over the material that we've covered and have you submit your responses electronically. Again, I'll go through there and check and kind of go from there. Okay. Again, it's going to be different this year, at least starting off with hopefully we can get back to some normalcy and how that all works out. And speaking of normalcy and changing things, just expect procedures to change, or at least prepare yourself for the procedures to change. Again, uncharted territory. We're all doing our best here. Okay, we want to make sure that it is the smoothest transition to this type of style learning there is. We also want to make sure that you get the most out of it. Okay, and sometimes that takes some trial and error. And so, right now, schedule-wise for physics and honors chemistry students, obviously Mondays are remote days. So again, be checking Google Classroom and your emails on those days. For now, I think I'm going to do a couple of things on Monday. I'm going to, I might have a video lesson for a new section. I might have a homework assignment for you to work on. Or I might go ahead and just say, you know what, maybe this particular type of information in our books needs to be done live. And so what that means by that is I might have you access Google Meets through Google Classroom at your particular normal class period of the day. So for instance, if, first hour chemistry, where is it? Yeah. First hour chemistry. Sorry about that. I had to find my new schedule. If I say on Monday we're doing Google Meets, then you will sign in with the code that will be provided to you. You'll have to be logged in to Google Classroom prior to 8:15. 8:15 is when the bell rings to start first period, and then we would go until essentially 8:52 when the bell would ring to end class. Okay, so basically it'd be just like this, but it'd be live. Okay, and I do work. As you can see behind me, I've got a whiteboard. That's where I'm going to do a lot of my math work, because with this camera any way I want to. Okay, so I'll be able to do work. I'll be able to do work when I need to. All right. Back to now. See, I got sidetracked. Oh yeah. So Google Meets, that's always a possibility. Now, in terms of schedule and what we're going to be doing, again, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are AA, and Thursdays and Fridays are BB. So what my original intentions, or my initial intentions for how this is all going to work out, is on Tuesday and Wednesday, we are going to be doing, new lessons, possibly some in-class work associated with those lessons. And so the BB groups at home will have the video lesson as well, because I will be recording lessons as I give them to classes to post through Google Classroom and YouTube, so they can see an actual live discussion. So you'll be doing that. Basically, AA days and BB days are going to flip-flop the type of learning procedures that we're going to do. So on Thursday and Friday, again, BB will be in class, and then we will go the similar pattern is lessons in class. I'll record them, post them, and then kind of, could be a homework day the next day to check for learning. And the people at home would still be given that same work as well. Again, lots of information going on here. I might even get to the point where I flip the classroom entirely, meaning you come in here and I give you a lesson through a recording, and then you will follow along with the lesson, do work as we go, do some practice problems, and we'll check for learning when we do that. Again, I might touch base on all three of these as we go. So just keep that in mind. There are some remote learners that we're going to have here, and I believe I've essentially mentioned what we're going to be doing in terms of those students. Check your mail and Google Classroom daily. Make sure you watch the videos. Make sure you can access the homework and get those done. With homework, as I mentioned, I want you to show me your work. So what I want you to do is you can take a photo if you have the means to take a photo and upload it. You can email it to me. You can upload it to Classroom, basically just to me. Send me a private message on there with it. Please make sure that you give it a title for whatever homework it is. So just make sure you're doing that. And again, if I will do my best to try to see about doing tests and quizzes as hard copies. So if you are opposed, this is for remote learners. If you are opposed to coming in on Mondays, again, you'd be the only one here. Let me know, because we can ask you to come in on Mondays if we need you to. So let's keep that in mind. And I think the last thing I got to talk to you about is lab. Okay. Labs are going to be attempted to be done in class. Okay. Again, I said attempted. It is going to be a little tricky because we have lots of materials that are utilized in here. And again, we have to keep groups pretty small, if not individuals. All right. So again, for each different lab, I'm going to be running through scenarios in my head just to make sure everyone is safe and it can be done efficiently and effectively. And it may ultimately come down to me running the lab itself, recording it, and then posting that, and then still providing lab handouts for you to, again, do pre-labs if you have pre-labs, do the observations to help you answer questions, look at the data that is collected by me, and still answer questions after the lab is completed. All right. So just keep that in mind. Again, there's going to be a couple options floating around there in terms of what we can do for lab. But again, we will cross that bridge when we get to it. That old fun saying. I believe I have covered everything that I can think of that's on my checklist, and anything that just happened to pop into my head as we've gone through this video. Again, my brain's just always constantly working and trying to think 5 steps ahead of where I am sometimes, because I want to make this, all-encompassing, all-inclusive of information, of stuff that you can expect to see as we kind of start the school year. All right. Again, I'm going to end this video now just by saying, if you have any questions, please email Google Classroom. Again, if you haven't already done Google Classroom, please get there. I also have a Twitter that I really have been trying to get better at in terms of posting stuff. My Twitter handle for this class is at Dorfler WHS. That is at, so you can see it, I think, DOERFLERWHS. I wonder if you can see it better there. Yeah, I think you can see it. Okay. So, join that. Like I said, my goal is to get more savvy with that social media outlet. But I'll tell you what, some of you may have thought it was cool getting out in March. Yeah, it was a little different, a little bit of a longer summer break. But I tell you what, I have been itching to get back into the classroom for a while now, and I think a lot of us teachers have been doing that as well. Just getting antsy, wanting to get back into things that we enjoy doing, and that is having students here learning material that we are presenting and trying to make everybody just enjoy the time that they have here. So again, we're looking forward to everybody coming back, and we'll see you soon. Again, don't feel like you need to wait to ask questions until you get here. Ask them as soon as they come to you. Have a great one. See you next week.